The Biden administration is sending $3.75 billion worth of military equipment, weapons, and other aid to Ukraine and its neighbors impacted by Russia's invasion. And for the first time, the U.S. is providing Kyiv with Bradley infantry fighting vehicles. The armored carrier is used to transport troops to combat. It is known as a tank killer because of the anti-tank missile it can fire. Our next guest is just back from Kyiv, where he met with President Zelensky. Joining me now is Democratic Senator Jack Reed, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Welcome. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you, Senator Reed. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Welcome back.
Good to see you, too. Thank you.
Well, you and Senator Angus King from Maine met with President Zelensky. What is he telling you about the needs, about what he's getting from NATO and the other, well, U.S. primarily and other NATO allies, and how he stands right now, given this, what you could call a frozen conflict?
Well, President Zelensky was extremely complimentary to the American people and the president for their latest transfer of military equipment, which provides him very important capabilities. First, Patriot missile systems, which can protect the infrastructure. The Russians are deliberately trying to destroy the electrical grid and force the population into horrendous conditions. Also, the Bradley fighting vehicles, which will give them mobility on the battlefield. And there are other supports that are essential. But President Zelensky was extremely grateful to the American people and the administration for what he received. They have a very ambitious plan to continue to remain on the offensive throughout the winter and then to move, they hope, very decisively during the spring. And I think that's the way to go. Time is not on their side in terms of the destruction that's being wrought in Ukraine, and also the fact that the international coalition will eventually feel tensions. But right now, we're all together and we're supporting the people of Ukraine.
Well, there's a Washington Post op-ed yesterday. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates write that any negotiated ceasefire would leave Russian forces in a strong position to resume their invasion whenever they're ready. That is unacceptable. The only way to avoid such a scenario, the two former secretaries write, is for the U.S. and its allies to urgently provide Ukraine with a dramatic increase in military supplies and capability, sufficient to deter a renewed Russian offensive and to enable Ukraine to push back Russian forces in the east and the south. Is it realistic to get an increase through the Congress now, with Republicans taking over the House and saying that one of their fundamental planks, if you will, going forward, of their agenda is to cut the defense budget, and particularly to Ukraine?
Well, that would be extremely short-sighted. In reality, the Ukrainians are fighting our fight, because if they fail, if the Russians succeed, they won't stop at Ukraine, and they will endanger NATO allies, which could pull us into a conflict, a direct conflict with Russia. That would be a disaster. So I think the advice that Secretary Gates and Secretary Rice gave is absolutely right on target. We have to continue to support the Ukrainian military forces with the equipment they need, but importantly, the equipment they can use. Many of these systems require training. Many of these systems require additional supports, and we have to do it in a way that we just simply don't deliver equipment. We deliver the capabilities, and that's what we're doing. I think the president's decision a few days ago was exactly on target, and I think it'll inspire other countries to open up their support for Ukraine even further.
Senator Jack Reed, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrea. Take care now.